Hello everyone and welcome you all in the problem solving class of the course Principles of Signal and System. I am Vivek Kumar Srivastava, a PMRF research scholar of Antenna and Microwave Research Laboratory, Indian Institute of Technology, Roper, and TA of this class. So in the previous class, we have covered some numericals based on the topic Fourier transform. So following that, in the today's class, we will also cover some more numericals based on the same topic, but based on the practical applications like filter and all. So let us start. So the first problem is the 3 dB frequency of RC filter in radian per second is. So there are four options is given to you. So we have to basically find out that what will be the 3 dB frequency. So first of all 3 dB frequency is nothing but the cutoff frequency of the filter. Okay. So let us say a low pass filter. Okay, so here is the low pass filter, let us say. Okay, so this is the cutoff frequency, that is omega c. Okay, so below this frequency, that is omega c, the filter passes whatever the input applied to it to the output, and above this the response will be zero. Okay, so this is basically a low pass filter. So this low pass filter can be defined as 1. Let us say its amplitude is 1, for example. So for mod of omega less than equals to omega c, its amplitude will be 1 and 0 for otherwise. Okay, so this is basically a uh, concept behind low pass filter. Okay, so let us suppose uh, a RC low pass filter, because here we have to find or say determine the 3 dB frequency of RC filter. Okay, so I am considering a RC low pass filter. So here is the RC low pass filter. Okay, so this is R, this is C, and this is the input. Okay, and this is the output y of t. So let us first check whether it is a low pass filter or not. Okay, so for that purpose let us assume low frequency case where omega is 0. So in this case the impedance of this capacitance is defined as 1 over omega c. So at omega is equals to 0. Okay, so at omega is equals to 0, this value of xc will be infinite. It means that it is open. So whatever input will be applied at the input side of this RC circuit, the whole input will be obtained at the output of this RC circuit. Okay, so at low frequency it passes all the input to output. Okay, whereas at omega is equals to infinite, xc is defined as 1 over omega c, which is nothing but 0 here, because at omega is equals to infinite this xc will be 0. It means that this capacitor will act as a short circuit. Okay, so whatever input you will apply at the input side of this RC circuit, you will not get any output, because here this capacitor is act as a short. Okay, so whatever input will be applied, no output will be obtained at the output side. So okay, so this, from here we can conclude that this circuit is nothing but a low pass RC filter. Okay, so let us now determine the transfer function of this RC filter. Okay, so for this we will apply KVL in this RC circuit. So here we can write this as x of t, which is the input, is equals to Ri. Let us say current is I of t. Okay, plus y of t, that is output that is obtained at the capacitor output terminal, okay, or say capacitor terminal. So now I of t we can also define it as c dyt by dt, okay, because we know that the uh, current and voltage relation of this capacitor is uh, is written as it is equal to c dyt by dt, because here yt is nothing but the voltage that is obtained across this capacitor, and current it is flowing through this current flowing through this capacitor. Okay, so now put this value of it in this equation number 1. So you will get x of t is equal to y of t plus rc dyt by dt. Okay, so now we can take Fourier transform of this function, of this basically equation. Okay, so x of omega is equal to y of omega plus j omega rc into y of omega. Okay, so now we can take y of omega common here in this expression and then divide it by x of omega. So this represents the transfer function of this low pass filter. Okay, and this can be written as 1 over 1 plus j omega rc. Okay, so this we can compare it by the transfer function of low standard low pass filter, which is nothing but 1 over 1 plus j omega over omega naught, where omega naught is the cutoff frequency or say 3 dB frequency. So by comparing these two, we can say that cutoff frequency or the 3 dB frequency is nothing but 1 over rc. Okay, so the 3 dB frequency of this rc filter is 1 over rc. So option 1 is the correct option. So now moving to the next problem. So the problem states that let xt is cos of 2 pi f naught t and x cap t denotes its Hilbert transform. So we have to determine the value of this uh, function basically. Okay, so before moving ahead, let us check what we have to first understand that what is basically a Hilbert transform. So Hilbert transform of a signal x of t. So let us suppose here is the x of t. Okay, so here is this system. Okay, so once you apply this input to this system, you will obtain x prime t, let us say. So Hilbert transform is basically denoted by a symbol x cap t. Okay, so this is how we can represent the Hilbert transform of any signal. So basically Hilbert transform of any signal x of t is defined as the transformation by which phase angle of all the component of the signal shifted by 90 degree. Okay, so let us suppose this signal is applied to this system. So whatever output you obtained at the output of this system, here you will obtain that this output is nothing but, that is x prime t is nothing but shifted by a phase of pi by 2. Okay, so basically here all the component of xt is basically shifted by a phase angle of pi by 2. So this is basically a Hilbert transform. So in this problem xt is given as x of t is equal to cos of 2 pi f naught t. Okay, so as we know that Hilbert transform basically define as the transformation of any signal where this signal is basically shifted, all the component of signal is basically shifted by 90 degree. Okay, so x prime or say x cap t we can define as cos of 2 pi f naught t minus 90 degree. Okay, so basically we shifted this signal by minus 90 degree. The phase of this signal is minus 90 degree shifted. So from here you will get sine of 2 pi f naught t. Okay, so this is basically the Hilbert transform of cos of 2 pi f naught t. Okay, so once you know that what is basically a Hilbert transform of this function, so now you can substitute the value of xt and x cap t in this problem. So x of t cos of 2 pi fct minus x cap of t sine of 2 pi fct. Okay, so now we can substitute the value of xt and x prime as cap t in this equation. So we can write it as cos 2 pi fct into cos 2 pi f naught t minus sine of 2 pi fct into sine 2 pi f naught t. Okay, so from here we can say that this is nothing but, so if we compare this equation with cos of a cos of b minus sine of a sine of b. Okay, so this we can write it as cos of a plus b. Okay, so we can write this equation as cos of 2 pi fct plus 2 pi f naught t. Okay, so we can take 2 pi t as a common in this, so you can obtain 2 pi in bracket fc plus f naught into t. So option c is the correct option here. Okay, so now moving ahead, yeah, the frequency domain Gaussian pulse e raised to the power minus a omega square has the inverse Fourier transform. So basically here the frequency domain Gaussian pulse is given to us, and now on by using this frequency domain Gaussian pulse we have to determine the inverse Fourier transform. Okay, so basically to solve this problem we will use basically the duality principle. Okay, which states that if suppose x of uh, t has a Fourier transform x of omega. Okay, so to determine the value of x capital X of t, what we have to do, we have to basically take x of minus omega and multiply it by a factor of 2 pi. Okay, so this duality principle we have seen from our previous lectures. Okay, that what is basically a duality principle, and we also apply this principle to some of the previous problem. Okay, so for this problem, to determine the inverse Fourier transform we will use the same duality principle. Okay, but before that we have to uh, check the xt for which we have to we basically here we take xt as the Gaussian pulse in time domain, which is e raised to the power minus a t square. Okay, corresponding to this function we already know that the Fourier transform is defined as root over pi by a e raised to the power minus omega square by 4a. Okay, so corresponding to this Gaussian pulse in time domain we already know the Fourier transform. Okay, so by using this duality principle we can easily obtain the inverse Fourier transform of Gaussian pulse that is defined in frequency domain. Okay, so now we will use this principle. Okay, so yeah, so now uh, to to use this duality principle what we will do, we will replace omega with t, and t will be replaced by minus omega. Okay, like here in this expression we can see. Okay, so here this we can write as root over pi by a into e raised to the power minus t square by 4a. Okay, so this is equals to 2 pi into e raised to the power minus a omega square. Okay, so now we can take this 2 pi in the other side, in the left hand side. Okay, so this we can write as 1 over 2 pi into root over pi by a into e raised to the power minus t square by 4a. So this will be equals to e raised to the power minus omega square. Okay, so now we can solve this equation further. So once you solve, you will get as root over 4 pi a into e raised to the power minus t square by 4a. Okay,
Sir, one question.
yes,
Using duality, when we substitute omega by
yeah,
t by
yes,
minus omega, so
yes.
minus minus becomes plus. No?
Where?
Uh, in the dual, using duality, you are substituting omega by t
Huh?
and t by minus omega. T
Yes,
by minus omega.
yes, yes. So here you
If
are
you
saying
substitute,
this should be plus.
uh,
But here the in the equation you can see t is equals to t square I am taking, not t. So once you
oh, oh.
put t to minus omega minus omega, so it will be equals to omega square only.
Okay, 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 sir.
Okay. So from here we can say that option C is the correct option. So now moving ahead. So here the next problem states that consider the frequency response h of omega, which is defined as this transfer function. Okay, so we have to plot uh, the Bode magnitude plot between 100 to 1000, and basically here we have to check by which uh, slope basically this magnitude plot is varying between this omega 100 to 1000. Okay, it means that between the interval that is omega 100 to omega 1000, how the magnitude plot is varying, what is basically the slope of this magnitude plot, that is basically we have to find out. Okay, so we have to check basically the slope only in this interval. Okay, so for solving this problem, let me write this h of omega in the standard form. H of omega is equals to I'm taking 10 as a common, so this can be written as 1 plus j omega by 10 over 1 plus j omega into here 100 square. Okay, because 100 if we take common, so due to the square present in this equation, so it will take 100 square as a common, and this will be 1 plus j omega over 100 square into 1000 in bracket 1 plus j omega over 1000. Okay, so now this is basically a standard form, so this we can further simplify. Okay, so once we simplify this, we can write it as 1 over 100 cube, because here 100 is present and here 100 square, so I am directly writing it as 100 cube into 1 plus j omega over 100, oh, sorry, 10, here it is 10 over 1 plus j omega 1 plus j omega over 100 square 1 plus j omega over 1000. Okay, So now we have to basically check that what is the slope between these frequencies, this limit range of frequencies. Okay, so from here we can say that omega is greater than 100. So omega by 100 is greater than 1, and omega is less than 1000. So from here we can say that omega by 1000 is less than 1. Okay, it means that within this range we have to check this condition. Okay, so now let us check whether this condition is satisfied for which factor. Okay, so like here h of omega we can write it as 1 over 100 cube into, so for this numerator factor if we can check. Okay, so omega by 100 is greater than 1. Okay, it means that, yeah, so it means that if you substitute basically so or you can say that this omega by 10, if you multiply by a factor 10 by 10, okay, so this will be omega by 100. Okay, so this basically greater than 1. Okay, so it means that this factor is negligible, this 1 is negligible, so we can directly write it as j omega by 10. Okay, similarly for the denominator, if you multiply this factor by 100 over 100, okay, so this factor is basically greater than 1, so you can neglect this factor 1 here. Okay, so this we can write it as j omega. Okay, similarly for this case, okay, this factor which is a square of this factor. Okay, so here also omega by 100 is greater than 1, greater than 1, so we can substitute this 1 here. Okay, so this we can write it as j omega over 100 square. But for this factor omega by 1000 is less than 1. It means that this factor is negligible here, 1 is greater than this factor, so that's why here 1 will come. Okay, so now we can basically cut this j omega from both numerator and denominator, and this we can further solve as 1 over 1000, because this factor I am solving, so once you solve you will get 1 over 1000 into 1 over j omega square. Okay, it means that here between these frequency range you will get a pole, okay, of order 2. Okay, it means that the slope of uh, this frequency response between this range of frequency, the slope is will decrease by a factor of 40 dB per decade. Okay, so here option C is correct. So why I am saying that the slope is basically decreasing by 40 dB per decade, so from the lecture itself we have seen that if uh, you will uh, you will have basically any transfer function is defined as a ratio of zeros and poles. Okay, so if you have only zeros, okay, if you have only zeros with order of 1, with order of 1, okay, so in this case the slope will increase by a factor of 20 dB per decade. Whereas if you have pole of order 1, okay, so in this case slope will decrease by a factor of 20 dB per decade. Okay, but here the pole is having a factor order of 2 basically, so that's why it will multiply by 20 dB per decade. So the overall rate by which amplitude to plot will varies between these frequency range will be decreases by 40 dB per decade. So any problem in this question, any doubt?
So we have to remember the fact of 20 dB per decade decrease
Yes, yes,
with every order.
yes, yes. So you have to check whether pole is there, whether zeros are there, and on the basis of that you have to basically uh, evaluate the slope by which factor it is varying.
Suppose if there are zero and also poles,
Yes,
suppose,
yes, yes.
then in that case, uh, if there is a first order zero
Okay,
and
okay.
second order pole,
Hmm.
then
So in this case,
will it
the
increase?
yes,
Uh,
so slope of the first order, that is 20 dB per decade, will cancel out by the slope of the first order in the pole. Okay, so this will result into the net slope of minus 20 dB per decade. So this,
oh, oh,
yes, so this
okay.
basically already
Yeah.
covered in the lecture. Okay, from there
So that
I've taken this problem.
it yeah, it decreases by 20 dB per decade.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. Sir.
Okay. So moving ahead. So here the next problem states that consider the Gaussian pulse of e raised to the power minus at square with Fourier transform of x of omega. So if x of 0 is equal to 1, so we have to evaluate that what is the value of this constant a. Okay, so for this for solving this problem we have to first know that what is basically the Fourier transform of this Gaussian pulse. So that we have already seen from our previous problem, that if this Gaussian pulse is there, so corresponding to this Gaussian pulse, the Fourier transform is defined as root over pi by a into e raised to the power minus omega square by 4a. Okay, so now once we know that what will be the Fourier transform of this Gaussian pulse, so now uh, we can put directly the omega as 0 here, because here if you can see in this condition, here x of 0, the value of x of 0 is 1. Okay, it means that you have to substitute the value of omega as 0 here. So once you substitute the value of omega as 0, okay, you will get this as root over pi by a into e raised to the power minus omega square, it means it will be 0. So this will be equals to root over pi by a. Okay, and the value of x of 0 that is given in the question is equals to 1. So by using this we can say that the value of a will be equals to pi. Okay, so option D is correct here. So now moving ahead. So here in the next problem, basically we have to calculate the continuous time Fourier transform of signum function. So first of all, what is a signum function? We have to see. Okay, so signum function is basically defined as, or sometimes people is also uh, call it as a sine function. Okay, so here signum function is defined as like this. So for t greater than equals to 0, the value of signum function will be equals to 1. Okay, whereas for t less than 0, its value will be minus 1. Okay, so that's how we can define a signum function. Okay, so let us say this is f of t. Okay,
So
so
basically, sir, basically signum means the sign of the value of t.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, if it is a t is negative,
yeah,
that is minus one.
yes,
If t is positive, it is one. It is a sign,
sign,
sign of, yeah.
yes, yes.
Okay, okay, okay.
So now, if suppose uh, we add a factor of 1 with this f of t, okay, so this we can plot it as, here for t less than 0 the value will be equals to 0, oh sorry, for t less than 0 the value will be equals to 0, whereas for t greater than equals to 0 the value will be equals to 2. Okay, so like here I'm just trying to add a factor of 1 with the sine function. Okay, so once you add a factor of 1 with the sine function you will get this kind of graph. Okay, so from here we can say that f of t plus 1 will be equals to twice of ut. Okay, where ut is nothing but unit step function. Okay, so so we can write it as f of t plus 1 is equals to twice of ut, or f of t is equals to minus 1 plus twice of ut. Okay, so now we can take the Fourier transform of this function, so this can be written as f of omega. So as we know that Fourier transform of 1 is basically defined as 2 pi delta of omega. Okay, whereas Fourier transform of u of t is nothing but pi delta of omega plus 1 over j omega. Okay, so we will use uh, this properties here, and just directly substituting this in this equation we will get minus 2 pi delta of omega plus twice pi delta of omega plus 1 over j omega. So now we can further solve this as minus 2 pi delta of omega plus 2 pi delta of omega plus 2 over j omega. So this 2 pi delta omega will cancel, and the final value that you will get it as 2 by j omega. So this is the Fourier transform of a sine function, or say signum function. Okay, so any doubt in this problem? So now moving ahead. So here in the next problem, which states that find the Fourier transform of a double-sided exponential f of t, which is defined as e raised to the power minus a mod of t, where a is a positive value. Okay, so first of all let us plot this f of t. Okay, so it is a double-sided exponential as it is written in the problem itself. Okay, so for t greater than 0 the value of this function f of t is equals to e raised to the power minus at. Okay, whereas for t less than 0 the value of this function will be e raised to the power at. Okay, it means that for t greater than 0 the plot will be like this, whereas for t less than 0 its plot will be like this. Okay, so this is basically f of t. Okay, so now basically here in this problem we have to determine the Fourier transform of this function. So as we know that Fourier transform of any function f of t is defined as f of omega is equals to minus infinite to infinite f of t into e raised to the power minus j omega t dot dt. Okay, so now we will put this function f of t here in this equation. Okay, so we will get minus infinite to 0. Okay, so for minus infinite to 0, the value of function will be e raised to the power at, e raised to the power at, e raised to the power minus j omega t dot dt, plus, so for t greater than 0, the value of this expression will be e raised to the power minus at. So for 0 to infinite, the value of function will be e raised to the power minus at into e raised to the power minus j omega t dot dt. So now we have to just integrate this equation. Okay, so let me integrate e raised to the power a minus j omega into t dot dt plus integral 0 to infinite e raised to the power minus a plus j omega into t dot dt. So now once you integrate this equation, you will get e raised to the power a minus j omega t over a minus j omega. Okay, and the uh, limit we can write it as minus infinite to 0 plus e raised to the power minus a plus j omega over, yes, this will be minus a plus j omega, and limit will be from 0 to infinite. Okay, so now we can substitute the limit here. So this will be a minus j omega, and this will be 1 minus 0 plus, here once you put the limit, you will get minus omega into, this will be 0 minus 1. Okay, so now you can solve it further. 1 over a minus j omega
Sir,
plus, yes,
sir,
yes,
here a plus j omega, right, for the second term.
oh sorry, yes, this will be a plus j omega. Yeah, so now once you further solve, you will get this expression, that is twice a over a square plus omega square. So this is the Fourier transform of this function. So once you plot this expression, you will get the Fourier transform like this. Okay, so this is the Fourier transform of a double-sided exponential function. Okay, so now moving ahead, here the next problem states that suppose x of t is the input to a linear time invariant system with transfer function h of omega, and y of t is the output of this system, where x of t is defined as e raised to the power minus mod of t cos of at, and h of omega is defined by this function. Okay, so basically here we have to find the real number of a, that is a positive value, such that y of 0 will be equal to 1. Okay, so for solving this problem, uh, we will use the Fourier transformation method, uh, because like, if suppose you have a system with impulse response h of t, and you are applying a input x of t to this system, so the output y of t is basically defined as the convolution of this x of t into h of t. Okay, whereas in the frequency domain, once you solve this, so this will be very easy, because you have to just take multiplication of h of omega with x of omega. Okay, so this method will be very easy for us, so as to determine the output, because once you know, or once you solve this expression, so you can easily take the inverse Fourier transform to transform this y of omega in the time domain. Okay, so I will use this method. Okay, so from here we can say that y of omega is defined, written as h of omega into x of omega. Okay, so h of omega is given to us, however x of t is given to us. So I will for the time being I am taking it as a x of omega. Okay, I will not uh, take the transformation of this because it will be very difficult sometimes. So I will substitute here x of omega, and later we will substitute the value of x of t, that we will see. Okay, so here I am substituting the value of h of omega that is given in the problem. So this will be x of omega into 1 plus e raised to the power minus j omega plus e raised to the power minus j3 omega. Okay, so now we can write this expression as x of omega plus, basically I'm multiplying this x of omega with these three factors. So this can be written it as e raised to the power minus j omega plus x of omega into e raised to the power minus j3 omega. Okay, y of omega here. Okay, so now I will take the inverse Fourier transform. Okay, so here the multiplication of the frequency with this x of omega is given. So the corresponding time domain is nothing but delaying in time. Okay, because as we know that if suppose x of t minus t naught is the function, so the corresponding Fourier transform is defined as x of omega e raised to the power minus j omega t naught. Okay, so I will use this property here. So y of t basically written as x of t plus x of t minus 1 plus x of t minus 3. Okay, so now as we can see here that at y is equals to 0, the value of this expression is nothing but 1. So I am substituting the value of t as 0 here. Okay, so this is equals to 1, and this is nothing but, once you substitute the value of t in this expression, you will get x of 0 plus x of uh, minus 1 minus 1 plus x of minus 3. Okay, so this is the condition basically that we have got from the uh, from solving the previous equation. Okay, so now x of t is already given to us in the problem. So we can substitute the value of t as 0, minus 1 and minus 3 in this x of t. So for t is equals to 0, the value of x of 0 will be equals to e raised to the power 0 into cos of 0, which is nothing but 1. So now for t is equals to minus 1, the value of x of minus 1 will be equals to e raised to the power minus 1 into cos of a. Similarly, for t is equals to minus 3, the value of x of minus 3 will be equals to e raised to the power minus 3 cos of 3a. Okay, so now we can substitute this value of x of 0, x of minus 1 and x of minus 3 in this equation, that is equation 1. Okay, so you will get 1 is equals to 1 plus e raised to the power minus 3 cos of a plus e raised to the power minus sorry, here this will be minus 1. I'm sorry, this will be minus 1, and now this will be cos of 3a. Okay, so from here this this one will be cancelled, so the final equation that we will got is written as minus 1 e raised to the power minus 1 cos of a plus e raised to the power minus 3 cos of 3a is equals to 0. So this equation will be 0 if these two summation of these two will individually equals to 0. it means that e raised to the power minus 1 cos of a should be 0, along with e raised to the power minus 3 cos of 3a will be equal to 0. So this can be happen only if a is basically a integer multiple of pi by 2. A is integer multiple of pi by 2. Okay, so for this value of a, this condition will satisfy. Okay, so hence we can say the value of a should be equal to pi by 2 to n plus 1, where n can be any integer. Okay, so this is the value of a for which y of 0 is equal to 1. So any problem, any doubt in this numerical?
Uh, so 2n plus 1, how did you get the integer multiple, right?
Yeah,
But 2n plus 1 is even multiple.
how? Let us suppose n value of n will be 0, 1,
Yeah.
2, whatever you will
Yeah.
substitute here the value of n, you will get multiple of pi by
No.
2 only. Like for n is
So for
equals to
example,
0, you will get pi by 2.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, n is equal to 1,
N is equals to 1, this will be 3 pi by 2.
3.
Yeah, you
But
can substitute.
I want 2, right?
Why?
In,
Because
in,
at
integer, it should be 2. Okay.
then the value of
Integer.
a will be pi. In this case, this condition will not satisfy. If you are saying that this factor should be 2. Okay, so in this case, the value of a will be pi.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Integer multiples of 2 pi. Okay. 2 pi. Okay. Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. So yeah, now moving ahead. So the next problem is, suppose g of t is the input to a linear time invariant system with transfer function h of omega. Okay, and g of omega is the Fourier transform of g of t, which is shown here. So we have to find out the output of the system y of t here. Okay, we have to find out the, so basically this problem is nothing but related to filter. Okay, because as we know, if suppose this is the system with impulse response h of t, and here the input is g of t that is applied to this system, so now we have to find out the value of y of t. Okay, so from this problem, i- we can see here that this filter is nothing but a low pass filter. Okay, this filter is nothing but a low pass filter, so it will pass only a certain component of input. So like this filter is defined only for minus 5 to 5, its amplitude will be 1 only for this range, and apart from this range the value will be 0. So once you multiply uh, h of omega with the g of omega to obtain the output. Okay, so you will get the output which will be only within the range of minus 5 to 5. Okay, although by multiplying these two signal we can see that the output will be defined within the range of minus 1 to 1, because uh, above minus 5 and below minus 5, uh, let us suppose here here this is plus 5, here this is minus 5. So for this range this will be 0, similarly for this range this will be 0. Okay, whereas between minus 5 to 5, this g of t is 0 from 1 to 5. Okay, so that's why the output of this uh, system will be will exist within the range of minus 1 to 1 only. Okay, so this problem is uh, related to basically the filter low pass filter problem. Okay, so let us now check the response that we will get at the output. Okay, so before that, uh, let us first define this uh, h of omega. So the magnitude of h of omega is defined here. uh, so for the range of -5 to 5, the amplitude of this omega, h of omega, will be equals to 1, and otherwise it will be 0, so that I am now not writing here. Whereas the phase, oh, here this will be magnitude, whereas the phase of h of omega is written as e raised to the power minus j omega. Okay, because here, uh, if you so here, like, if you can see that the phase is varying negatively. Okay, so once you put uh, omega is equals to 5, you will get phase as -5. Similarly, if you put uh, omega as -5, you will get the value as 5. Okay, so that's why I am writing here e raised to the power minus j omega, where minus omega represent basically the phase. Okay, so the overall transfer function h of omega is basically written as 1 e raised to the power minus j omega. So now the output y of omega is written as g of omega into h of omega. Okay, so uh, this we can further write as, so I am trying to substitute this h of omega here. So once you substitute this g of omega into modulus of h of omega into e raised to the power minus j omega. So once you multiply these two factors, you will get a new uh, a new distribution, basically, that I am defining by a factor of x of omega. Okay, into e raised to the power minus j omega. So now I can take the inverse Fourier transform. Okay, so y of t basically defined as x of t minus 1. Okay, so once we know that what is basically the value of x of t here, so we have to just delay the signal x of t by a factor of -1, so we will get the value of output of this system. Okay, so for obtaining the value of x of t, x of omega is, first of all, let me define. So this is nothing but g of omega into mod of h of omega. Okay, so basically you have to multiply these two. So once you multiply this mod of h of omega with g of omega, you will get the distribution like -1 to 1. This value will be 1. Okay, so this is nothing but x of omega. Okay, so mathematically this can be written as, yeah, so mathematically this can be written as 1 minus mod of omega when omega will be less than equals to 1 and 0 otherwise. Okay, so mathematically we can represent x of omega by this expression. Okay, so now to determine the value of xt, which is the time domain form of this x of omega, we will use inverse Fourier transform, so which can be defined as 1 over 2 pi integral minus infinite to infinite x of omega e raised to the power j omega t dot d omega. Okay, so now we can substitute the value of x of omega here by this expression. Okay, and solve this expression further. Okay, so I'm leaving this exercise for you. Okay, so you can solve it later, okay, by substituting uh, the value of x of omega for the corresponding frequency range. Okay, so once you substitute and solve this equation, you will get the value of xt as sine sinc squared t by 2 by 2 pi. Okay, so this is basically the value of x of t. So now, as we know from the previous exercise that y of t is nothing but x of t minus 1. So basically we have to delay the value, the argument of x of t by a factor of minus 1. Okay, so here basically we have to delay this t value by t minus 1. Okay, minus 1 factor. Okay, so that's why here the y of t is defined as sinc square t minus 1 by 2. So like here you can see that the factor t in the x of t is changed by t minus 1 here in the y of t, okay, over 2 pi. So this is the response of the system. Okay, so any doubt in this problem? Okay, so now moving ahead. So in this problem, uh, an LTI system has impulse response. So impulse response is given to us. Okay, so like here for this, let us suppose this is a system. So impulse response of this system is given to us. So what was the input x of t that is applied to this system when the output is this much? Okay, so here output y of t is given to us, h of t is given to us. So basically here we have to determine that corresponding to what input we will get this output. Okay, so now to solve this problem we will use the same method, that is y of omega is defined as h of omega into x of omega. So now h of omega, h of t is already given to us, which is defined as e raised to the power minus 3t into ut. Okay, so h of omega is defined as 1 over j omega plus 3, whereas for y of t, which is given in the problem, e raised to the power minus 3t into ut minus e raised to the power minus 4t into ut, we can write it transform as y of omega is equal to 1 over j omega plus 3 minus 1 over j omega plus 4. So now we can further solve this y of omega as, so uh, yeah, j omega plus 3 into j omega plus 4. So here this will be j omega plus 4 minus j omega minus 3. So this will cancel. So the final value of y of omega will be 1 over j omega plus 3 into j omega plus 4. Okay, so this is the value of y of omega, this is the value of h of omega. So now substitute the value of y of omega and h of omega in this expression. So once you substitute, you will get 1 over j omega plus 3 to j omega plus 4 is equals to 1 over j omega plus 3 into x of omega. So this j omega plus 3 will cancel. So the value of x of omega will be 1 over j omega plus 4. So now you can take the inverse Fourier transform of this. So once you take inverse Fourier transform of this, you will get e raised to the power minus 4t into ut. So this is basically the input that is applied to this system so as to get this much amount of output. Okay, so any doubt in this problem? So now moving ahead. So here input to the applied to the system is given to us, and instead of giving the impulse response, that is the system response, okay, h of t, instead of giving impulse response to the system, the relationship between the input and the output, the relationship between the input and output is defined to us. And now the problem states that we have to determine the value of y of t here. Okay, so now to solve this problem, we will use the same Fourier transformation method. Okay, so now as we know from the differentiation property of this Fourier transformation, that is d by dt of y of t is defined as j omega into y of omega if all initial conditions are 0. Okay, so by using this property we can solve this differential equation. So like once you solve this differential equation, you will get j omega square y of omega plus j omega y of omega minus 2y of omega will be equals to x of omega. So now you can solve this expression j omega square plus j omega minus 2 y of omega is equals to x of omega. Okay, so x of omega is also given to us in the problem. So this we can write it as 1 over j omega plus 3. Okay, so now this we can write it as, basically I am trying to factorize this factor, this. Okay, so this will be into y of omega will be equals to 1 over j omega plus 3. Okay, so from here this can be written as j omega minus 1 y of omega 1 over j omega plus 3. So now y of omega is written as 1 over j omega plus 2 j omega minus 1 j omega plus 3. So now we can use partial fraction method. Okay, so this we can write it as j omega plus 2. Okay, so uh, now we can use the partial fraction method to further solve this. So how to use partial fraction method so as to determine these coefficients a b c, that I've already covered in my previous lectures. Okay, so from there we can uh, by using the same concept, basically here I am trying to uh, determine the value of ABC. Okay, so once you uh, solve this expression, you will get the value of ABC as this one. Okay, so once you substitute the value of ABC in this expression and takes the inverse Fourier transform, you will get this expression. Okay, so this mathematical part I am leaving to you, so because it will take a lot of time to solve. So this mathematical part you can do it by yourself. So I'm just trying to show you that how to uh, solve a particular problem, how to uh, basically uh, use this concept so as to solve this problem that is given to us. Okay, so by using this method you can solve this problem. Okay, so any doubt in this problem?
Sir, 1 minute.
Yes.
in the final answer, y of t is equal to 1 by 4 u of t e to the power of minus 3t. But whereas, 1 minute, yes, yes, 1 by 4. Okay, okay, A corresponds to that. B is, B is, B is plus 1 by 2. Okay, okay, because of u of, okay, okay, sir, I got it.
Okay, thank
U
you.
of minus t.
So now moving to the next problem. So here basically the problem states that determine the impulse response of an ideal low pass filter and an ideal high pass filter. Okay, in each case assume a gain of a within the pass band and cutoff frequency of omega c. So here basically the problem states that we have to determine the impulse response of low pass filter. First of all, ideal low pass filter. So let us suppose this is a ideal low pass filter which is having an amplitude of, or say gain of a, like here it is given in the problem itself that we have to consider the gain of this low pass filter as a. And as we know that low pass filter is having a cutoff frequency of omega c. So this is basically the uh, impulse response, or say frequency representation of impulse response of low pass filter. Okay, so now we have to basically determine the impulse response of the system. It means that we have to determine the value of h of lf in time domain. Okay, so now to determine this impulse response, as we already know the frequency domain representation of low pass filter, so by using inverse Fourier transform we can easily evaluate the impulse response of low pass filter. Okay, so uh, we can use the expression of inverse Fourier transform, which is defined as 1 over 2 pi integral minus infinite to infinite h lf of omega into e raised to the power j omega t dot d omega. Okay, so now we can further solve this within this range of frequency. So the limit will change from minus omega c to omega c. The value of this h lf will be a into e raised to the power j omega t dot d omega. Okay, so this can be written as, so a I am taking it as a common into I am directly integrating this factor, so this will come as over jt, and the limit of integration from minus omega c to omega c. So this can be written as a over 2 pi jt into e raised to the power j omega c into t minus e raised to the power minus j omega c into t. Okay, so now as we know that sine of a is written as e raised to the power ja minus e raised to the power minus ja divided by 2j. Okay, so e raised to the power ja minus e raised to the power minus ja can be written as 2j into sine of a. So here let us take a as omega square c, sorry, omega c into t. So let us now put the value of a here in this expression, so you will get e raised to the power j omega c t minus e raised to the power minus j omega c t. This will be equals to twice j sine of omega c t. So now this value we can substitute directly from here. Okay, so once you substitute you will get a over 2 pi j t into 2j sine of omega c t. So this 2j and 2j will cancel from both numerator and denominator. So the response that you will get will be a over pi t into sine of omega c t. So now I am multiplying both the numerator and denominator by omega c. So once I substitute this, I will get omega c a by pi into sinc of omega c t. So this is basically a response, impulse response of low pass filter. Okay, so this is basically a impulse response of low pass filter. Okay, so you can use the similar method so as to determine the uh, impulse response of high pass filter, or otherwise here, as in the question itself it is given, then gain will be within the pass band will be a. Okay, it means that for all the range, let us assume it will be a. So if it means that HLF plus yes, sorry, HF will be equals to A. Okay, so once you can write it as HF will be equals to A minus HLF. Okay, so you can directly take inverse Fourier transform of this expression so as to determine HHF t is equals to A into delta of t minus HLFT. So this represents basically the impulse response of high pass filter. Okay, so that is how we can solve this problem. So any doubt in this problem? Okay, so this is basically the solution that I solved for you, and here is the impulse response plot of low pass filter and high pass filter. Okay, so from the expression itself we can see that it is nothing but a sinc function. Okay, it means that impulse response will varies like a sinc for. Okay, whereas for the second function it will be inverted sinc form. Okay, for the high pass filter. Okay, so this is the last problem of the today's class, and I hope that this class uh, was very informative to you. So if you have any further doubt, then please ask. Okay, thank you.